How's it going, guys? I hope you guys are all doing well. I gotta say, I haven't been really spending much time in the backyard lately, as much time as would have liked to, because of the spring season, as lovely as it is, brings with it seasonal allergies due to elevated levels of pollen in the air. But today I decided to come to the backyard and spend a little time and check to see what state the trees are in. And also, it suddenly came to the realization that I have this narrow window of opportunity to harvest mulberries. Now, the Himalayan mulberry and the white mulberry, they come to fruition about this time, and they really finish fruiting by the second week of May in this particular climate or microclimate of Sacramento Valley. So I'm going to take advantage of this narrow window of opportunity and harvest as much mulberries as I can. As I said again, I might have to put my mask on because it's a little windy today and the pollen levels are pretty high too. So yeah, come along with me and we'll harvest some white mulberries and some Himalayan mulberries. We might find some red mulberries still left on the tree. I sort of neglected harvesting those. They might have finished fruiting by now, but we'll go take a look. Thank you very much for being with me today. As you can see, there are a lot of mulberries that have fallen on the ground. So I'm not going to bother with these. I'm just going to let the wildlife actually enjoy these. And it's important, if you have fruit trees in the backyard, let some fruits actually stay on the ground, because you never know. Some birds, some other creatures might come and take advantage of them. They're filled with nutrients, they're filled with vitamins and minerals. So it's always important to give back to nature, and that's what I intend to do. So with the ones that have fallen on the ground, I'm just going to let them sit where they are and let the wildlife enjoy them. So let's start picking some fresh mulberries from this white mulberry tree. Some of these branches are just fraught with mulberries, and let's take a look. I'll show you one as an example. This is a very, very good quality mulberry. It's a pretty good size white mulberry, very nice and juicy. Let's pick a few more. Very good. And when you feel a mulberry that's pretty soft, that's kind of juicy, that's when it's about to fall off. So that's the best time to actually pick it. So one important consideration is to check up on mulberry trees, maybe on a daily basis when they're fruiting, and pick as much mulberries that are ripe as possible. Let's pick a few more mulberries. Oh, this one looks beautiful. So one way of harvesting it is this. Going to the branches and pick fresh mulberries off the branch. Or the other possibility is to actually lay down a piece of cloth or a piece of tarp or whatever, and then start shaking the tree. And that will result in as many ripe mulberries to fall as possible. That's another way of picking fresh mulberries. I prefer this way. It's a more poetic, more romantic way of picking mulberries from a tree, but you also have that other option as well. What you realize is that in a matter of just a few seconds, actually get a pretty good pile of mulberries in the palm of your hand. I don't know if I can show you this. So I just picked all these mulberries in a matter of just a few seconds. So, and it's a pretty enjoyable activity too. What's kind of interesting, or something I can hardly comprehend, is a lot of people opt for a flowering mulberry rather than a fruity mulberry, in the fear that the fruits can actually stay in their driveways and their backyards, and it's a major sacrifice actually, because these are filled with minerals, antioxidants, and it's a huge trade-off actually. This is how much mulberry I've picked up so far. Very nice. Now, one thing I got to tell you is that the reason as to why you don't find mulberries at your local supermarket is because they don't last for very long. They spoil very quickly. So the best thing to do is to either plant a mulberry tree and harvest the berries yourself, or just find a fruit tree, find a fruity mulberry in your neighborhood, and talk to the owner and pick the neglected mulberries off the tree. So yeah, that's why you can't actually find them at a local supermarket, because they don't last for very long. You can freeze them and you can enjoy them later. But it's, I think, the best way to enjoy mulberries is to pick them fresh off a branch or off a tree. I'm now standing under the majestic Himalayan mulberry, and this tree, unfortunately this year I pruned this tree quite heavily. It was really growing out of proportion, so I had to take size control very seriously into consideration. But it still produced some good quality mulberries nonetheless. Let me show you an example. This is a very, very just beautiful, beautiful piece of fruit. Just a wonderful, wonderful mulberry. Himalayan mulberry again, and let's give it a try together. Sometimes when you pick this tree from off a branch, the chickens are fighting in the backyard. You realize that you have some insects crawling over them. Some people actually go ahead and eat the insects too. I don't do that. I like to wipe off any insect that might be crawling on the berry, and I like to enjoy the fruit. So let's give it a try together. I gotta say, I can't recall to my knowledge any other fruit or berry that tastes better than these Himalayan mulberries. I don't know, it's really indescribable. It's sweet, but not super sweet. It's a little bit astringent, and I don't know, it's very hard to describe. It's very hard to describe a taste. It tastes like mulberry, but a different kind of flavor altogether. Everything. In a matter of a few seconds, I picked up these many Himalayan mulberries. Just fantastic. Add them to the pile. Let's pick some more. Let's pick that guy right there. And as I said, if you want to come and check out on the status of these berries, pretty much on a daily basis. You never know which ones actually ripened, and it's really a shame to let these go to waste. Okay, wonderful. Some over here. And I gotta say, this tree has just begun to ripen its fruits. Oh, lovely. Lovely, lovely, lovely. This is the pile, the mulberry pile so far. A mixture of Himalayan mulberries and white mulberries. Okay, let's get one over here. Beautiful. Let's get some in the back. This is another great looking piece of fruit, piece of mulberry. Lovely. As I said, there are two different ways to pick mulberries from a tree. One is to lay down a piece of tarp or a piece of cloth and start shaking the tree. But this is the more sort of poetic, a more involved, a more meditative way to harvest your mulberry tree. It's a major trade-off actually, because you want to spend as much time in nature as possible. You want to spend as much time with the tree as possible. It's pretty easy to come and start shaking the tree and harvest a mulberry and wrap everything up in a matter of just a few minutes. But I much prefer to spend time in nature, spend time in the backyard, listen to the birds singing while I'm harvesting mulberries. So I find that a more rewarding experience rather than just coming and put myself in an impatient situation and go like crazy, start shaking everything and collect everything and then wrap things up. So that's not the I think the most profitable way, productive way to spend your time. depending on however you define productivity or profitability, of course. More mulberries here. I told you guys earlier that I was gonna go check up on the red mulberry, the American mulberry as well, and I realized that this is also producing great quality fruits. This is a different taste altogether. And this is, I think, native to North America. Let's give it a try. Oh wow, tastes almost as good as the Himalayan mulberry, but it's not as flavorful as the Himalayan. But it's almost there actually. It's very good tasting. The thing about the white mulberry, we can try one together actually here, that it's sort of it's more like bland tasting. It's definitely got a hint of the mulberry taste, but the flavors are not as pronounced, or the mulberry pertinent flavors are not as pronounced as the one that you find in the American mulberry or the Himalayan mulberry. Let's try another one. Oh, fantastic. Let's pick some mulberries together from this one as well. And I gotta tell you guys, one major advantage of mulberry trees is that they're pretty much maintenance free. You don't have to apply any kind of of course your soil has to be in a pretty good condition. It needs to contain all the necessary minerals, but as far as the need to fertilize them on a regular basis, or spray them with insecticides or fungicides or any of that, you don't have to do that. It's totally unnecessary. They're pretty much maintenance free, pest resistant, and they grow pretty vigorously, so you really have to prune them on a regular basis. But your reward really comes in the form of these just wonderful fruits every spring, and they're great tasting, very good for you, filled with nutrients, minerals, antioxidants, and just have a good time harvesting them and eating them. Just lovely mulberries. Okay, let's take some from back there as well. Let's take some here, there. Check these out. So it's pretty good for today. I'm gonna go ahead and start actually enjoying these. But there's also one other thing I wanted to show you, which is something nice and interesting, so bear with me. So this is really the surprise that I wanted to show you guys. This is a jujube seedling that's probably grown off of a root, part of a root system that traveled this far. That suggests to you how far jujube roots actually travel to look for nutrients and look for minerals and water. So this is an offshoot that came off of the root system, and the jujube tree itself is about maybe 6 feet from this particular seedling. So I'm gonna let it grow. Of course, we have this fig tree that is not doing terribly well, but it's okay, it'll probably survive. So it'd be interesting to look at the symbiotic relationship that hopefully will be established between the jujube and the fig in the same hole. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. So it's kind of interesting to see a jujube seedling growing just like this, knowing that the tree is about 6 feet away. Interesting.